Dear students, today we are going to start the second chapter of Vistas, that is the Tiger King. The story of the Tiger King is written by Kalki, which is a pen name of a great Tamil writer named Sri R. Krishnamurti, who is known as a writer of historical and social novels, and this story is a perfect example of this. The story is of the past, that is why historical, and is dealing with the social responsibility of a king. This story is of the Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram, who was also known as the Tiger King. Why was it so? That we have to find out. This chapter has 5 parts. The first part gives us the introduction of the Tiger King, and the second part deals with his childhood and youth. The third part tells us about his tiger killing mission. The fourth part makes us aware that how his marriage took place, and fifth part reveals his end. As it's a long story, so we'll do this chapter in 2 parts. Now, before starting the chapter, there is a question for all of us. What is the general attitude of human beings towards wild animals? We know that generally the public is scared of wild animals, but some who have adventurous spirits, they prefer to have a life experience of these wild animals and are never scared of any wild animal. And this king, the Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram, was also not scared even of the most ferocious wild animal, that is, a tiger. Let us start with his story. The Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram is the hero of this story. He may be identified as His Highness Zamindar General Khiledar Major Satyagraha Samhari, Maharaja Dhiraj Vishwa Bhuvna Samrat, Sir Jilani Jung Jung Bahadur, MAD, ACTC or CRCK, but this name is often shortened to the Tiger King. Now he had so many titles attached to his name because of his bravery, but ultimately, in short, he was known as the Tiger King. Now there is a question for us. Who is the Tiger King and why does he get that name? We have to find the answer to this question from the chapter. Now, the writer introduces us to the Tiger King that when he was born, some supernatural thing happened because of which this story became extraordinarily interesting. The writer also tells us about him that whoever comes to know about the Tiger King will experience the natural desire to meet a man of such indomitable courage face to face, that he was so courageous that whoever has heard about him had a great desire to meet him, but that desire cannot be fulfilled because the Tiger King is no more in this world. And even the manner of his death is also a matter of extraordinary interest. When he was born, astrologers had foretold that one day the Tiger King would actually have to die. Now, everyone knows whoever has taken birth on this earth has to die some or the other day. So, there was nothing unusual in their prediction. The child will grow up to become the warrior of warriors, hero of heroes, champion of champions, but they also told that he is going to be a very brave and courageous king. But there is something more. Then they stopped themselves and then they heard something unusual. This is a secret which should not be revealed at all, and yet we are forced to speak out. The child born under this star will one day have to meet its death. Now, why they stopped themselves from speaking? That we will come to know from the next paragraph. Here they are simply saying this thing, that this child will die someday. Now, after hearing this for the second time, then a miracle took place. And what happened? That the 10-day-old Jilani Jung Jung Bahadur spoke up and said, "O wise prophets." Everyone stood transfixed in stupefaction. They all were so much surprised that from where this sound has come. They all looked here and there, and then the child again spoke that it was he who said this thing. This time there were no grounds for doubt. So all their doubts were cleared, that the 10-day-old king is speaking. The chief astrologer took off his spectacles and gazed intently at the baby. And then the baby continued that all those who have taken birth will die someday or the other. So we don't need your predictions for such thing. But if you could tell us the manner of that death, that would be of some importance. Then the chief astrologer thought, and after thinking for some time, then he said, "The prince was born in the hour of the bull. The bull and the tiger are enemies, therefore death comes from the tiger." The people over there, everyone was so much shocked after listening the 10-day-old baby speaking. So they were not able to believe that, and after listening to the manner of the death, they thought that the child also must have got scared by listening to the name of tiger. But just the opposite thing happened. The child said, "Let tigers beware." So he was not scared of the tigers, rather, he said that the tiger should be scared of him. Now, this account is only a rumor rife in Pratibandhapuram, but with hindsight, we may conclude it was based on some truth. Now, in the beginning, it was believed that maybe it is not true, but later on, as the things turned out to be, it proved to be true. In the second part of the story, we come to know about the childhood days of the Tiger King. When he was a small child, he was brought up like any other prince. No other miracle took place in his childhood days except that miracle that he spoke on the day when he was only 10 days old. After that, when he grew old, then he was crowned as the king, and after being crowned as the king, again people started talking about the astrologer's prediction. Slowly, the Maharaja also came to know about it. There were innumerable forests in Pratibandhapuram, and they had several tigers too. The Maharaja knew the old saying, "You may kill even a cow in self defense." There could certainly be no objection to killing tigers in self defense. The Maharaja started out on a tiger hunt. Now, this is very important. See, self defense we can call when our life is in danger. But here the king's life was not in danger, and he should have accepted the fact that because he has taken birth, so some or the other day he will definitely die. Now, hardly it matters what is the manner of his death. But he did not take it in a positive way, rather he took it in negative way, and he wanted to prove the astrologer's prediction wrong. So he said that even if we kill a cow who is considered as a very sacred animal, then also it is not considered as a sin because we are killing that cow in self defense. But so, in the name of self defense, he decided to kill the tigers. But the tigers were not causing any harm to him. They were moving freely in the forest, and the king was ruling in his kingdom. So they had the tigers had nothing to do with the king, nor the king had anything to do with the tigers. So it cannot be called as self defense at all. Now, but the Maharaja was thrilled. See, the people, those who do any wrong thing, if you ask them the reason, they will definitely give you a reason for it. But giving that reason doesn't make the wrong deed a right one. Same way here, the Tiger King is trying to give a lame reason that he is killing the tigers for his self defense, and that is absolutely wrong. And what happened? That he went and he killed the tiger. And after killing the tiger, he brought the dead body to the state astrologer and asked him that what was his opinion. Then the astrologer announced that the tiger king may kill 99 tigers in exactly the same manner. As he has killed one tiger, he can kill 99 tigers in total, but he must be very careful with the 100th tiger. So, the astrologer wanted to say that the 100th tiger is going to be the reason of his death. So, he can kill 99 tigers and there will not be any harm caused to him. But the 100th tiger will be the cause of his death. Now, the Tiger King was still not satisfied. He still wanted to prove the prediction wrong, so he decided to continue with the tiger killing. And he asked the astrologer that if he kills the 100th tiger, then what? Then what the astrologer says that if it happened, then he would cut off his tuft, that is his hair. He will crop his hair short and become an insurance agent. See, children, when we read the chapter, we need to read it very carefully because extract can come from any part of the chapter. And this sentence also was there as extract, that I shall cut off my tuft, crop my hair, and will become an insurance agent. And many of the students, those who do not read the chapter, are not able to identify that from which chapter this extract has been taken. So, just reading the summary is not sufficient. We need to read the chapter again and again in order to attempt the extract successfully. So, here ends the second part of the chapter. Now, the third part begins. From that day onwards, it was celebration time for all the tigers inhabiting Pratibandhapuram. Now, see, this when the king decided to kill 100 tigers, that time duration is considered as the celebration time for all the tigers. Now, what is the reason that it has been called the celebration time? Because they banned tiger hunting by anyone except the Maharaja. No one in the kingdom was allowed to hunt any tiger. So the tigers were safe till the Maharaja himself had come to kill them. That is why it is called the celebration time for them. Now, after taking this decision of killing 100 tigers, the Maharaja took one more decision. He vowed that he would attend to all other matters only after killing the 100 tigers. Now we can see that he was the king of a kingdom. He was a very brave and courageous king. He was fearless, but he did not take decisions judiciously. First decision which he took of killing 100 tigers was wrong. Second decision he took that he will not look into the matters of the kingdom until and unless he kills 100 tigers. So he was not fulfilling his duty towards his kingdom as being the king of the kingdom. And it was also not an easy task to kill a tiger. He faced dangers several times. Many times he missed the bullet and the tiger attacked on him, and then he fought with the tiger with bare hands. And it is a different thing that always he used to win and he was successful in killing a tiger, but he had to risk his life several times. Then one time there was a different type of danger, and that danger was of losing his throne. Because a British officer who visited Pratibandhapuram wanted to hunt tigers, but as they had banned hunting for every outsider, so the Maharaja straightforward refused for tiger hunting. And then he requested the Maharaja to look for different types of other hunts, hunting any different animal. Even he agreed for a mouse hunt, he agreed for a mosquito hunt, but he denied for the tiger hunt. Then the British officer's secretary sent the message through the Diwan of the king that if the Maharaja wants to kill the kill the tiger, it is perfectly fine for him. He just wanted to have a photograph with the dead tiger. But the Maharaja did not agree to this also, because he thought that if he will get the photograph clicked, and when that photograph will be shown to other British officers, they will believe that the British officer only had hunted the tiger, and then it will be a problem for him in future, and others also would like to come for tiger hunting, and it he did not want anyone else to come for this tiger hunting. So, what he did, he refused, and because of his refusal, the British officer became angry. And because he got angry, there was a chance that he might lose his kingdom. So, in order to please the British officer, what he thought, he immediately sent a message to the British Company of Jewelers in Calcutta and asked them to send some samples of expensive diamond rings in different designs. And near about 50 rings arrived, and he sent all the 50 rings to the British officer's good lady. He thought she will choose one or two diamond rings and will send back the remaining, but she kept all the 50 diamond rings, which cost him near about 3 lakh of rupees. And the Maharaja was still happy that even after losing 3 lakh rupees, he was able to save his kingdom from being in British hands. Read this much part of the chapter and then find out the humorous incidents mentioned